that are here who are, I have a list of 15 people, or actually 17 people who support getting the alley named. Maybe some of them can speak to if they support the historic Yale Alley. Once we have that name designation, he will put the legislation through to get the process started with DDOT.
Yeah, so to formalize this, they're just coming to us. We've spoken with Councilmember Allen, and he wanted us to engage in the community process first, and then our letter of support would be asked them to begin the process to name it, and then it would go through a formal process through that.
Great. Take it away.
So I'd like to make a motion that ANC 6E provide a letter of support to Councilmember Allen's office to consider to show our support for legislation to have the alley, begin the naming process or the study process to have the alley named.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you. We will be relaying a letter to the council member's office, and we'll include you for that. And thank you to all members from the block for coming out and showing support for this.
All right, and our last option, or
In my
item, item for.
I don't know, Train, if you want to come up. This is 207 New York Avenue. For those of you that are familiar, there is a small stretch of retail on the 200 block of New York Avenue between Kirby Street and New Jersey Avenue. This Ms. Delmundo is the developer that owns the building at 207 New York Avenue and has developed it. There's a first floor, asking to have it zoned, so there's first floor retail with 2 units of residential on top. As clarification, this has already been developed. They are just coming to us for support for a variance to have it zoned properly to have mixed-use retail on the first floor. We met with the developer last week, and the one concern we had was as reviewing the plans submitted to the ANC as well as the BZA, they did not, the materials used per historic did not, on the front facade, did not match what was done in practice. We spoke to the developer and they are going to make those changes, but the Historic Preservation Office did recommend that they do that. However, the community does believe that having a retail establishment on this block can only do good for the community and what is done there. We do know that we will not support any type of liquor establishment, but they are just looking for some type of small deli food type of venue that will be established there. So after meeting with the committee, we did vote to support this if they could show that they would make the alterations to the materials used, and the applicant has shown that they will be making those changes, and I would like to move that ANC 6E support 207 New York Avenue's request for support for a variance to allow retail space on the first floor.
Great, well, does anybody on the commission have any questions?
I do. When we met with the applicants, I didn't hear anything about a restriction against ABC establishment.
There wasn't a restriction, but that was, after meeting with them, that was something the community, I spoke to a few neighbors around there, that was something they requested. But if
then
there
I would encourage you to include that in your motion.
Okay. Then I would like to include that in my motion, that it not be.
Is that the only question we have on this? Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
So I would like to make a friendly amendment to the motion that we include a note that this will be for a food establishment, but would not be supporting a liquor license at this time. If a business then would like to serve alcohol, they would have to come back and request that license at the time.
Well, what you'd be asking the BZA would be to actually put a restriction on there being a liquor license at all.
Okay. Is that something? Okay, then yes, we would like to, based on the needs of the community, restrict, communicate to the BZA that there will be a restriction on a liquor license in this building.
Do we have a second?
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. And we are back down to Mount Vernon Triangle with the new restaurant at 400K. We have a new building coming into Mount Vernon Triangle at 4th and K, and I think people in Mount Vernon Triangle are extremely excited to know that the owners of the Bake Joint are going to have another restaurant in that building. I don't know if you guys know this, but the Bake Joint is one of the most popular places. Now I can use that in addition to Busboys and Poets to tell people where I live. So, you know, speaking on behalf of the entire community, we can't wait for this place to open up. So go ahead.
So this is an application for a new restaurant, like just described by the operators of Baked and Wired. And it is located at 400 K Street, and I'll just tell you what we applied for. We applied for an entertainment endorsement and a sidewalk cafe, and the hours of operation that we applied for are from 9 a.m. to 12 a.m., 9 a.m. to 10 p.m. on the sidewalk, and 9 a.m. to 12 a.m. for entertainment. The occupancy load here would be 130. And in the past few weeks, maybe the past month, we've been communicating with the ABC committee as well as the ANC chair in trying to come up with a resolution. We have come up with some terms, a settlement agreement that discusses the hours of operation, the sidewalk cafe, public space, trash, things that I believe address any, what the community requested, what was discussed during the ABC committee. So at this time, we request that the ABC or the ANC support the settlement agreement and vote to approve the settlement agreement.
Right. Well, I negotiated a voluntary agreement in exchange for not protesting this license to the ABRA board. They came before the Alcohol Committee. The Alcohol Committee provided some suggestions on how to improve this agreement. Those have all been included except for one. There was a request to restrict any front-loading deliveries. We felt it best that be worked out outside of this agreement. We appreciate very much you coming before us and signing this voluntary agreement. So, as I sent around the agreement earlier, I'd like to make a motion. Oh, well, actually, I'm sorry. Questions?
No, just to report that, yes, the ABC Licensing Committee did meet with the applicant last Thursday and discussed a number of issues. We asked for some adjustments in terms of the hours for the outdoor seating, which were granted, and some language related to rodent control, which is obviously an ongoing issue throughout the community. So those issues have been incorporated, and the committee did vote to recommend that the commission support the application.
Great. And at that, I'd like to make a motion that the ANC 6E support your ABRA application contingent upon the terms in the voluntary agreement being followed, and that it be communicated to the ABRA board.
That's it.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all very much.
Oh, hey, I have a copy of it right here. If you want to sign this, we can knock it out and I can send it out this week.
Yeah.
I'm guessing.
You might want your attorney to review it.
Signing over your
Yeah.
IRA.
Yeah, just leave it before you go. Thank you, guys.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you all.
And on to another very exciting restaurant, Prather's in the Alley. This is a restaurant that's going into the very new, great building, 455 I Street. We had a very fancy residential building get put in right by Milan Park on 455 I Street. And Prather's on the Alley, a restaurant is going to be at the bottom floor. And I know I've had a lot of questions asking when you guys are going to open up, so I'm excited to have you before us.
Hello, my name is Matt Menorah from the law firm Malleus & O'Brien. We're ABC licensed counsel for Prather's in the Alley. I have with me Dean, one of the proprietors of the restaurant coming up. We've applied for a Class C restaurant license, total capacity of 99 inside, and a sidewalk cafe with a maximum of 30 seats. When we met with the ABC committee of the ANC 6E, we negotiated some of the changes to the ABC license application reflected in the draft settlement agreement. So our hours are going to be 8 a.m. to 1 a.m. Sunday through Thursday on the inside, 8 a.m. to 2 a.m. on Friday and Saturday on the inside, and 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. daily on the Sidewalk Cafe. There's no entertainment endorsement and no recorded music on the Sidewalk Cafe as well.
Excellent. Are there any questions, alcohol committee?
Yes, as reported by counsel for the applicant, the committee was very gratified to the response to the recommendations, and the committee did vote to ask the commission to support the application.
Great, great. I have I've incorporated all of the recommendations. If you guys want to sign after we vote, I'd like to make a motion that the ANC 6E support the ABRA application contingent upon the terms of the voluntary agreement being followed, and that we communicate that support to the ABRA board.
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
And Commissioners, we're also asking for support for a stipulated license, so because we believe that the project may be open before the actual
Oh,
petition
it's
deadline is
you
over.
know, yeah. Let me start that. My bad.
You can do it as a separate motion.
We do
Go
a
back and
stipulate.
revote it.
Okay, all right. I'd like to make a motion that the license be stipulated to expedite this process, and that be communicated to the ABRA board.
I second that as well.
All in favor?
Aye.
And I believe you also have an application for sidewalk permit before us?
Not at this time, no.
Well, we had discussed it, but
Oh,
with
yeah,
some process.
but yeah, the public space permit process has not begun yet.
Oh, okay, all right. No worries. I got the agreement here if you want to review it. Sure. Sign it tonight.
Thank you, Commissioners.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, and, thank you very much. Good luck, good luck. So, the next thing we have on our agenda is consideration of the resolution to support the NEAR Act. We heard a lot about it earlier, a lot of questions. If there's anybody here that'd like to give one quick overview before we vote, that'd be fine. Well, I don't think we need
He
it.
just
We're all
went through
pretty
it.
well
He-
acquainted with
we
it.
presented last.
Yeah,
so.
yeah. Does anybody want to say anything or have an argument for or against passing the resolution? All right. At this time, I'd like to make a motion, yes, a motion. The AN6E sign the resolution that was provided to us earlier this month in support of the NEAR Act. All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimous?
I just want to say quickly, thank you guys for being receptive to the resolution, and I think myself and many others will continue to advocate for like the oversight hearings and try to get public information coming out so we can try to track progress in terms of this implementation. I think it's a very important, though it's not a huge piece of legislation, not a huge budget, I think it's a pretty important move forward. So thank you.
Absolutely. New business.
So there's, Frank and I spoke earlier, and I had a conversation with DDOT Director Marushin late last week. A number of my constituents, both on the 200 block of N Street, the 400 block of M Street, Ridge Street, and the 1100 block of 4th Street, have found that lately with increased use of Dunbar as well as the convention center and bringing the car show, as many other items, that parking becomes for residents more and more unreliable. And in the past, the DDOT director to initiate a study for resident-only parking on blocks, which would be only one side of the street, it's gone by a block-by-block basis and through a petition process. And the new director would like to move away from that and bring it back to the ANCs and look at resident-only parking from a single-member district basis. And the reason is that he feels, and the agency feels, that if you do it block by block, it just pushes traffic to the next block or parking issues. And initiating a study on a more holistic basis can help come to a conclusion that will be more, won't just kind of push the issue just kind of a little bit over and come to a more holistic approach. So Frank and I both agreed that, especially I would like to ask for my single member district, and I believe, Frank, there were a couple of blocks in his single member district that we would like to request DDOT conduct a study to evaluate the parking needs and as well as the demographics, well, not the demographics, the constituency that is using the parking, whether or not resident-only parking is feasible or necessary in these areas, as a number of constituents feel that it's difficult to find those spots, you know, on high density times when people are coming in from other parts of the city. And when there is resident parking and non-residents use it, it steps up enforcement. And people feel that, you know, 2 hours is not followed in many cases when these, you know, large events come, and that we would like added security that you can find a parking spot within a block or two of your home when these events happen. And a lot of people feel that, found that when these large events come, they park 5-6 blocks away. And I think that in general, the community is very supportive of having, you know, being near the convention center, near, you know, these world-class facilities, but also need to have the security that they can be near, get easy access to their home. So I'd like to request that.
Wait, Frank, would you like to?
Well, the constituents in my single member district, they have not asked for relief in the parking area. The challenge in my particular area, because we're close to the convention center, is oftentimes the police department, most oftentimes, won't ticket. For example, when you had the car show this week, this weekend, I live in an area where I have parking behind my home, so I'm fortunate to have off-street parking. But for the most part, they're not going to ticket during a car show because it works against the city trying to raise funds through the convention center. So my constituents haven't asked for that same relief, so I think it's a challenge in that area, especially where my constituents are, because we're so close to the convention center. So the city may not want to give any type of.
Yeah, this is just a study to look at.
To
It's
look
not
at, right.
issuing, it's not putting up any of the signs. It's literally just a study, and then
Right.
they would move with a process to decide.
I understand.
Did you support the study?
I don't have a problem with the study.
Okay.
So just a question on which specific 100 blocks we're talking about, which.
So they
ones?
look at these are where the constituents have reached out to me from. They will look at the whole single-member district. That's how the study works. That's how the director has tried to move the process rather than a block-by-block basis, because he believes that when you do it from a block-by-block basis, it's just pushing the problem to the next block. So they want to look
Frank,
at.
your entire SMD is also going to receive the same treatment?
Yes.
Okay.
Any
All right.
other questions among the commission? So I'd like to make a motion that ANC 6E provide a letter to the Director of the DC Department of Transportation requesting their support to issue a study to see the feasibility for resident-only parking in ANC 6E04 and 6E03. 6E03.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye. Passes unanimously. Excellent. Any other new business?
Yes.
All right, do we have any old business? All right, approval of January's meeting minutes.
I think we all circulated them.
We're all good to go? All right, I'll take a motion.
I'd like to make a motion that ANC 6E approve the minutes from the January 2nd, 2018 meeting tonight.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Unanimously.
Treasurer's report.
Beginning balance of January 1, 2018 was $53,004.33. Had two expenditures totaling $276.13. Balance forward, $52,728.20.
Oh, you know what, let me pass a copy down to Karen. Yeah, here we go. All right, approval of expenses.
Or did we make a motion to approve, or do you not need to approve that?
No, I don't think we've ever made a motion to approve it.
Oh.
Yeah, we usually do.
Oh, we do?
approve the
Oh,
treasurer's
excuse me, I'm
report.
sorry. Would you like to move to?
I move that we accept the balances brought forward, ending balance being $52,728.20, being the ending balance for
I second
January
that.
31st.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Approval of expenses. I'd like to make a motion that we approve Ms. Yela's fee for $250.
I second that.
for the record, you should clarify the purpose of the expenditure.
For taking minutes and putting together, the official minutes for ANC 60's meeting.
And then if the new website is complete within the month, you will have a training and begin the record keeping for that.
Yep, absolutely. I'll take a second.
Second?
Aye.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Just a quick report, ANC 60 has been working on developing our new website. Thank you to everyone who's helped with that. The developers are finishing their last portions of this, and then we will, for the commissioners, if you could please send over just a couple sentence bio and then a picture if you have it yourself. We'd like to add those to the website, and if you have a preferred contact method that you'd like to use, we will include that on the website as well. Alex or I will work on, I welcome anyone else who's interested, but putting together just some of the generic information of like what is the ANC, the committees, kind of the what ifs that people would go to on the website to seek. We feel that the purpose of this is to provide constituents with a clearer path of communication and access to all of our materials that we discuss at these meetings. There will be archive records, so we will have our agendas, and if there's any materials that accompany something that's on the agenda in any particular month, you'll be able to download those from the website. And we're working with Ms. Yela, who will be helping us keep this active in addition to my responsibilities. So hoping that it will become more of a central location and help all the constituents here have readily availability to all the materials we review in these meetings. So increasing our transparency and making it easier for all of you to see everything.
Excellent. Well, thank you. Announcements? Anybody have anything they'd like to share with us? Oh, yes, excuse me, I'm sorry. We could fit you in and we'd like to take just some time to hear a little bit about the DC College Savings Plan.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Rajewski. I represent the DC College Savings Plan. What I thought I would do, with the Commissioner's permission, is just briefly talk about the plan in an overview and maybe come back another time and talk about more details.
Absolutely.
Simply put, the DC College Savings Plan is a way to help families save for college and vocational expenses and do it in a tax-advantaged way. Somewhat similar to a retirement plan, but instead of saving for retirement, you're saving to pay for college or vocational expenses. Now, anybody can invest in the DC College Savings Plan, but it was designed by DC government for DC residents. DC residents get a special tax deduction. As a single DC filer, you can save up to $4,000 per year, and if you're a joint filer, you can save up to $8,000 per year. So with that said, I know I've given a lot of information in an extremely short amount of time. I am dedicated by the Office of the CFO, OCFO, to be a resource to the community. Whether you're a public organization, private organization, public employer, private employer, if you have folks that would like to hear the story about college savings, please reach out to me. I basically work for you to tell the story. There are brochures out on the table. You can find more information online at dc529.com, and on the back of the brochure there's a toll-free number with a dedicated staff that can help guide you to make the right decisions. I hope to be back again. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, and yeah, we'll absolutely have you come back for a bit more of a
Sure.
robust presentation.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you.
One more.
Sure.
Good evening. I'll be very brief. My name is Jamal Jordan. I'm a public affairs manager with PEPCO. You guys might know me from my previous role as Director of Constituent Services for Councilmember Charles Allen, and had the pleasure of working with these great ANC commissioners and serving the wonderful residents of Ward 6. Basically, PEPCO is going to be out in the community a lot more. We're going to have a renewed community engagement. You'll see a lot more of us out. We have a lot of big projects going, but we really want to work with the ANCs because there are eyes and ears in the neighborhood. And we really want to address issues where, keep them up to date about ongoing projects so they can also provide information to you guys, but also give them information about upcoming projects, but also address any issues of concerns or questions that you have going on. We're really just trying to engage folks, provide you guys with quality, reliable service, and understand that as the city is growing, your source of power is growing too, and we just want to bring that level of commitment and just show you guys that we're here for you. I have information about upcoming Mount Vernon Triangle substation. That is a big project that we're listening to, having several meetings and really engaging. We're still talking about it, so we're in between two phases, but we're really trying to engage and really work with you guys, but just want you guys to know Pepco is going to be in your community, and we really want to hear from you guys. So thank you.
Thank you, and congratulations on the new gig. Councilman Allen's got a tough job filling your spot you left. Yeah, but glad to see you coming back to our meetings anyway. Any other announcements? Commissioner Padro.
February is Black History Month, and this is the first Black History Month that the Carnegie Woodson home at 1538 9th Street Northwest, the home and offices of the father of Black history, are open for tours. So please take advantage of the fact that you can visit and learn about Black history there. National Park Service in Shaw Main Streets will be presenting a walking tour of Dr. Woodson's neighborhood on Saturday, the 24th of February at 1 o'clock, and I will be your guide. So if you're interested in learning more about the neighborhood's African American history, come on out and join us.
It's 15 what?
1538
9th Street, which is on the west side of the street, correct?
The 24th.
Well, I think that that wraps up February's meeting. Oh wait, sorry, one more.
Information on the draft, just to make this very fast. Just you can see me, you can see Andrew, other pieces that over here. So we'd like you to work.
Excellent, excellent. Well, with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Frank, Commissioner Wiggins made it, and David. All right.
And our next meeting is?
Our next meeting is March 6th, 2018.
6:30 p.m.
6:30 p.m. right here.
Yes.
All right, thanks a lot, appreciate it.
Okay, I'll get it for you. Let me just close this.